Francesca Warner. I'm one of the co-founders of Ada Ventures. Ada Ventures is an inclusive venture fund, and we have raised over 100 million now, and we invest in breakthrough ideas for the hardest problems we face. This year for SuperVenture, we were actually quite interested in building longer term relationships with LPs. So we're not actively fundraising right now. We're in the sort of lucky position that we're not needing to actually have a kind of transactional conversation with LPs, but it's fantastic to be visible here to reiterate our strategy, why we're different, what we're doing, and get to know folks who might invest in our third fund in, say, 18 months, 2 years. I think there's tons and tons of markets that, because of the homogeneity of venture capital in the past, just have not been tapped, have not been disrupted by venture-backed products and services before. And so that is what we're really focused on. Our lens at Ada is looking at unserved or underserved end customers. So we think about aging populations, we think about women, we think about the non-white population, and there are so many products and services that could be built for that community that we want to fund. One emerging trend that's incredibly hard to ignore and should not be ignored for investors right now is generative AI. It is absolutely changing every single aspect of everything that everyone does, regardless if you believe in it or want it or not. So we as investors are thinking about, how does it affect our portfolio construction strategy? How does it affect our investment strategy? How does it affect how we actually operate as a firm? We're actually taking the whole team away in the next couple of months and looking at generative AI and how our workflows are going to change. So that's a really, really interesting theme. I think another theme that is so important for investors to be thinking about really proactively is climate and the energy transition. We are going to need to completely reinvent our entire economy to ensure that we are meeting our obligations under the kind of net zero transition. And that is going to be really a huge opportunity for venture capitalists and for founders. So you've got to be even more sharp on your differentiation, even more sharp on how you're going to monetize. You've got to be all over your unit economics. You've got to be super aware of what's happened in the public markets over the last 18 months in your space, so that any investor who has any questions, you're able to answer them immediately. And then have a plan B and plan C and just consider whether you may not be able to raise, and you certainly won't be able to raise on the valuations that you were able to raise on in 2021. So I think having a kind of pragmatic approach to what the investment round that you might raise and what the valuation might be is going to set you in good stead. An upcoming project I'm passionate about is I'm actually working as part of the UK government on the high growth female-led task force. And it is a really inspiring group of women. It's entrepreneurs, it's investors. It's led by a woman called Anne Bowden, who's the founder of Starling Bank. And our whole objective is, how do we get more high growth female-led companies funded at scale? And it's been a great first 12 months of the task force, and I'm super excited about us announcing some of the things that we've been talking about. SuperVenture is definitely the place where VCs come to meet LPs. It's incredibly efficient, actually. You can spend sort of 2.5, 3 days here and meet existing LPs, new LPs, build relationships with other GPs, other VCs across the European and US landscape. And it's a sort of unmissable event, really.